all know that music entertains us, but there's so much more to it than that. Music is what brings us together. It can inspire, motivate, and heal. And just sometimes, a song can say everything when we can't. I'm so excited to bring you these wonderful tunes and artist stories. I'm Stacy Newman, and this is More Than the Music. Born from humble beginnings in Ashland, Kentucky, Naomi Judd was the daughter of a riverboat cook and a gas station owner. She put herself through school and worked as a nurse while she was a single mom in Hollywood, California, raising her 2 daughters all by herself. Naomi took a courageous chance and moved to Nashville to pursue a country music career with her daughter Winona, and in 1983 that move paid off. The Judds were discovered on The Ralph Emery Show and went on to release nothing but top 10 singles for the rest of the 1980s. 14 of them went all the way to #1. Things were looking up for Naomi. Then, in 1991, she was diagnosed with hepatitis C and given only 3 years to live. This horrifying diagnosis forced her to retire from the road, and though this was a devastating blow, Naomi has always been a survivor of adversity. She refused to accept a death sentence and not only lived those 3 years, she was declared cured of the disease 5 years later. Though she has outlived that alarming diagnosis, sold millions of albums, won 5 Grammys, and written several New York Times best-selling books, Naomi has been fighting a battle that millions of adults in the U.S. deal with every day. Her latest book, River of Time, tells some of the most intimate stories about her battle with severe depression and anxiety. She's a testament to the fact that mental illness does not discriminate by race, orientation, or level of success. Naomi hopes to reach some of those millions of people with her candid stories and methods for regaining hope. We are here outside of Nashville, Tennessee, in the beautiful countryside. We are talking to country music royalty, Naomi Judd.
Oh, stop.
Oh, it's true. You have had...
I do have some crowns, I have to admit. I have tiaras. Like the first time we did a rodeo, and the Sweet Potato Queen had this tiara, about snatched it off her head. And from then on, Winona and Ashley and everybody started giving me tiaras and crowns, because they say I'm the queen of everything. I will admit that.
Well, fair enough. You have had 26 hit singles. You've sold over 20 million records. You've worked as a nurse, a model, a secretary, and now as a mental health awareness advocate.
And I worked at a mental health store making smoothies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've done a lot of things.
Yeah. So we are here today to talk about your book, River of Time. Right. Paperback is out now, so go pick that up. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
I had severe depression, severe. In fact, my doctor, my psychiatrist, said that I had, this was his diagnosis, severe, not mild or moderate, severe, treatment resistant, meaning they tried every drug, every antidepressant on the market, severe treatment resistant depression. So this is as bad as it can possibly get. So I was really messed up. And people are shocked when they hear that, because I'm usually laughing, or, I mean, doing the bent over double belly laugh and twisting and twirling and jumping off risers on stage and everything. But this is going to shock you. There are 40 million of us, 40 million people with severe depression and panic disorder. I have panic disorder too. So because I care so much about the folks out there, which is really my background and where my heart is, I love the Heartland, little plug there. In fact, I named one of our albums Heartland, but I felt like I had to tell them about what depression is so they can figure out if they've got it, so they can self-diagnose and get their butts to a doctor, to a psychiatrist, who can help them get out of the valley of the shadow of death, where I actually was. And the best way to do it, because people come up to me in Kroger, at the car wash on Highway 96, and ask me about it, and I don't have time to listen to their whole story, so I wrote the book as a sort of a self-help manual for depression. It's a survival guide to depression and panic disorder, and now I just carry them around in the trunk of my car so I can pass them out.
There you go. Yeah, that's great.
But it's a hideous thing to have. It was beyond hideous, actually. I don't think there's an adjective for how bad it can get. It has a genetic component. You can inherit it from your relatives. I say I can't change my relatives, but I can change my thoughts. So I had to go back and do some hard work, some inner work about the stuff that I've never told anybody that's happened to me in my life. And by doing that, I felt a sense of freedom because I was like a detective looking at all the stuff, and I thought, oh, that's why I have anxiety disorder. All 5 of my father's sisters had severe, extreme anxiety disorder. They never married, they never left their homes, they had OCD, their houses were unspeakably clean. One of them lived up a dirt road in a holler in Kentucky and wouldn't even go into town. She was agoraphobic. But anyway, when you go back and you start looking at your past and you start realizing, uh-oh, Aunt Watsika wasn't just weird. She had severe depression and severe panic disorder. And then you kind of look at yourself and start unraveling things that happened to you. The book starts out with something that's beyond horrible that happened to me. And I had never even told my therapist about it. And he about fell off his seat when I finally told him what my first memory was at age 3.5. It's really bad. I'll let people read the book and find out. All that to say, I want to help people. And basically, what I am, Stacy, is a communicator. I have to use whatever I'm going through to reach out and talk to other people. I used to be head nurse in ICU, so I know about the medical industry. I was also going to go on to become a doctor when Winona started singing on me. We had to move to Nashville instead. But I have a medical background so that other people don't have to read these thick books or watch the videos or hang out with geniuses, which I did. I'm trying to translate for them.
Yeah, put it in words that everybody can understand.
Absolutely.
I think it's one really nice thing about now versus back in the day. Like you said, when your aunt wasn't just weird, she had these problems that we just didn't really have words for back then. So I think it's just an awesome thing that you've written this. It's so hard to open up about this kind of stuff. A lot of why this is so important and talking about it is so important is the more it gets talked about is the more the stigma is broken. I think a lot of people think that depression is just being sad, and there's so much more to it than that. It's an emptiness. And I think trying to get people to understand that who haven't experienced it is tough, and this will help with that.
The first thing you said about reducing the stigma, people use words like crazy, neurotic, whatever. This is a mental condition in your brain. You can't look at somebody and know that they're depressed. There's no blood test. You can't do an x-ray. Just like the heart disease is a disease of the heart. Diabetes, which is rampant in this country right now and getting worse, is a disease of the pancreas, which is right here. The pancreas makes insulin. So if the pancreas has a disease and isn't making insulin, then you have to inject insulin or swallow a pill or whatever. So mental illness is a disease of the brain, meaning your brain doesn't make certain chemicals that you really need. We call them neuropeptides. That's a fancy word for the happiness chemicals, serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. Your brain, my brain, because of my relatives, doesn't make enough of the good chemicals. So I don't have them. I have to take medication, and I tell everybody, go to the doctor and get diagnosed, and they'll help you, he or she will help you figure it out. You also talked about stigma. You would not believe how many celebrities have called me. I will never, ever, ever say their name, but you would be stunned, like blown away, if you knew the celebrities that have been ringing my phone asking me to counsel them and help them. And of course the first thing I say is go get my book, because it's laid out, everything that you're going through. I went through, and it's in the book. That's why I keep saying the book is really a manual for how to survive depression and anxiety. You have to read the book because it helps you identify. It's not just feeling sad. It's so much more. You feel like there's no purpose. You feel so empty, and the world is so dark. That couch in my kitchen, I couldn't get off my couch for almost a year. And we were talking about my dogs. Maudie, my big dog, who's my soulmate, my last rescue, would come over and literally just put herself on my body and lay her face, her head, her big head on my head, as if she was a blanket or trying to say, I'm here for you. Mm-hmm. It was unbelievably tough. There are not enough words to describe what I went through. And my girlfriends out here, I believe in friends so much. My beloved girlfriends would beg me to go into the little town and have lunch at the cafe or poke around the shops, and I would swear up and down that I was going to do it, that I wouldn't be able to get dressed. They would show up, I would stand behind the curtain there in the hall at the door and just watch them. And I couldn't. I remember one time we were having a potluck over at Mary's house, and I was supposed to bring my world famous potato salad. I made it, and everybody was just like, yay, she's finally coming out of the house after months. And I just took it out, put it on the hood of my car. I watched them come and get it, and they came up on the porch and rang the bell and everything. I have seen every rerun of Law and Order at least twice.
So in 1990, at the height of the Judd's thing, you were diagnosed with hepatitis C. If you haven't had enough world-shaking health stuff, talk to us a little bit about how you dealt with that diagnosis and how you came out of that.
Wow, you're right. Here we are on top of the stinking world. 5 Grammys, well actually won 6 for Songwriter of the Year. We were undefeated at all the award shows. The beloved fans had just changed our worlds. I was on welfare. I didn't have a car in LA. We were downright pitiful. I got behind in my rent. We were paycheck away from the streets every month. So for me to finally be able to buy a new car, I remember the first thing I got when I got a royalty check from RCI, I got a set of Clairol hot rollers and garbage pickup. That just goes to show you how my life changed. So here we are on top of the world. Winona and I are grooving together, which was huge. I met Larry, who's been my husband now for 38 years. But all of a sudden, and this is the way life is, and I pretty much had rhinestones in my blood. So all of a sudden, now hepatitis C, which was incurable at the time, we didn't have anything for it. And the Mayo Clinic doctors told me I had 3 years to live, which really ticked me off because nobody can tell you how long you got to live. It's up to you. But after the 8 years, this virus that had been dormant, just laying still undetected in my body, surfaced, and I felt like I had the world's worst case of the flu. It was really bad. I remember one night, I just got back on our bus, and my bed was in the back of the bus, and I just literally collapsed on the bed, and Winona had to take my shoes off, take my big fancy dress off of me, and she was sobbing the whole time. And our bus driver, who was one of my best friends, came back and he saw me and he said, "You're going to have to quit, aren't you, Mama?" And he said, "I quit." And the band quit, and everything changed just like that. All of a sudden, I came home, and that gate out there, Galen drove the bus. Winona got off first because she lives up the road. She lives behind that, over that hill right there. Actually lives over that hill. So the bus driver dropped me off at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I stayed until the last thing and actually watched Albert turn off my spotlight. It's sort of a metaphor, like who turned off my spotlight all of a sudden. I was the last one to leave this big arena, and I was standing at the front gate with my little suitcase and my beaded gown over my arm. I remember it was December the 4th. It was a very frigid, black, cold night, no sun, no moonlight at all. And I watched the lights of my bus, the Dream Chaser, go down the country road, and I came in. I was in another state, another mental state. That was the night my depression started, and the clock on the wall in the kitchen, we'd lived here a long time. I didn't even know. You could hear the tick-tock. I could hear my clock ticking, and I looked at the phone, and the phone didn't ring for a week. Nobody called me for a week. The phone and I just stared at the phone, and I thought, my life is over. There's a big bridge. It's about 20 minutes away, and it's super tall. It's called the Natchez Trace Bridge. And I thought, well, I was that sick. Mentally, I was that distraught. I was that far gone because I couldn't see another second. I certainly couldn't see another minute, but it was that dark. It was that scary, and I was just swallowed up with deep depression. And after months, Larry finally, he and Ashley bundled me up. They called 911 in the middle of the night, and the guys came, and Larry and Ashley said, we have to intervene. You're completely gone. We got to do something. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was diagnosed. And then they started trying me on all the medications. But everybody's, your chemistry is yours, and it's so different, and your brain makes chemicals, and a certain amount of chemicals. Like they said, we can't do a chest x-ray to see if you have asthma or pneumonia or anything. You don't have a broken arm. We can't see a physical disability. I just look normal. I look like Naomi. But the psychiatrists are trained.
Well, I'm glad that you guys found help.
You have to raise your hand. And sometimes we have to have somebody, and I'm maybe that one, to teaches you have to raise your hand and say, okay, this has gone too far. I can't go on. I cannot live another day like this. It's not just sadness. Yeah. It's something way beyond where you don't want to live anymore.
We'll be right back with more from Naomi Judd. Welcome back to our special presentation of More Than the Music with Naomi Judd. The book will help people become their own advocates.
The book takes you literally step by step through what it was like before I was diagnosed, how I got diagnosed, what I did afterwards, and what I do every single day now. I have tools. Larry said I have psychological tools in my psychological toolbox now, but every day I go through these certain steps, and I'm sitting here happy, I'm content. I have more peace of mind, frankly, than I ever had. Not that I ever had it in the beginning. My life was too traumatic and too tumultuous.
Well, it's awesome that you've overcome that. Can you tell us a little bit about the tools? I was reading about the ABC Please.
There are so many things, and a lot of the tools are called integrative medicine, which just means that they're not invasive on the human body. I practice aromatherapy, acupuncture, chiropractic, biofeedback, exercise. The list just goes on, and all these things. But you have to, I joined a support group. which was huge. You're sitting there and you've got the person next to you, you don't even know their name, and they say, well, this happened to me last night. I reached a point in my panic disorder where I became hysterical. I thought I was going to die. I didn't know what a panic attack was. I felt like I was hallucinating. My fingers began to tingle. My eyes became blurry. I was shaking violently all over. I had no idea what was going on with me. And I just went, oh, been there, done that. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's a panic attack. That's what they call it. It has a name. And when you feel like you're part of a community, the rising tide lifts all boats. You start to hear stories that reflect your own experience. And there is nothing in the world better than having somebody who's your rock, somebody who says, okay, be present in this second, really concentrate on this particular second. Don't be thinking about what's going to happen, but that takes a skill.
If you could go back in time and give yourself a little bit of advice when you were just starting out, what would it be?
I can't believe nobody's ever asked me that. Stacy, you're good. Wow, that's amazing.
It doesn't have to be serious.
No, I think that needs a serious answer. I would say, I'm Naomi freaking Judd and I got this.
I think that's my favorite answer to that one so far. I love it. Well, Naomi, thank you so much. I feel like I could sit here and talk to you for hours. And thank you for this book. Y'all go pick this up, River of Time. It's in bookstores now, paperback. It's been a special presentation of More Than the Music. Stick around. We'll be right back with more from my interview with Naomi Judd. One in 4 Americans lives with mental illness. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. Mental illness can affect your mood, your behavior, and even your perception of reality. Our brains can get sick just like the rest of our bodies. If you fell and broke your arm or had trouble breathing, would you be too embarrassed to go to the doctor? Of course not. Half of the battle is getting over the stigma attached to mental health issues. But the more we all talk about it, the easier it gets for folks out there to ask for the help they might need. Treat problems with your mind the same way you treat problems with your body. You need it to be healthy so you can live your best life. From depression to schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, anxiety, there's a whole range of things that can be going on. Just know that no matter what you are experiencing, you are never alone. If you or someone you know is in need of help, just ask. Thanks for joining us.
You may not realize it, but these words, often used to describe someone with a mental health condition, can be very harmful. In a country where 1 in 5 people are affected by a mental health condition, it's time for all of us to step up and change the conversation. Just because someone's struggle isn't obvious on the outside doesn't mean they aren't hurting on the inside. We need to see the person, not the condition. Join with me, pledge to be stigma-free.
Hey guys, check us out on social media. We are at MTTM Heartland on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Not MySpace though, we don't do that.